I'm going to try to go through the major projects in the city. We also have projects down to the residential level. I'm not going to touch on those. I'm just going to talk about more of the major projects. This past February, we were able to get our city council to approve a $28.3 million roadway program in the city for 2012 and planning for $31.7 million in 2013. The breakdown of this money really is like this. There's really about $8 million of the 2012 dollars at city CIP for the major roads, and another $7.2 million for the smaller roadways. The grant money is, as Warren talked earlier, we get money through TMACOG, through ODOT, also through other funding sources, the Ohio Public Works Commission, to help fund our projects. So as you can see, they're a major source of the dollars that we need to do the projects that we've got in the city and really throughout the region. You can see the totals here. The other point that I wanted to point out is in 2012 it represents 62 lane miles of road. A lane mile is one lane, 1 mile long. So if you had a 2-lane road, this would be about 31 miles of road. We've got over 1,100, as you're running, 1,100 miles of roads in the city of Toledo that we have to maintain and improve. So as Warren talked about system preservation, it's a real big challenge for us at the city of Toledo. That 1,100 miles, if you translate it into lane miles, is about 3,000. And we're only doing 60 a year is a huge amount, and as you all know, it's a huge disruption. But we need to actually be doing more to really be able to keep up with and maintain the roads in a way that everybody would like them to be maintained. I'm going to show a few, I'm not going to go through everything with its own individual map, but there's a few of them that I think are going to be near and dear to everybody's hearts. Monroe Street was already mentioned earlier. That project's underway right now, probably causing a lot of headaches. Whenever we do any project, we have to narrow the traffic pattern, so we've only got 1 lane in each direction while this project's going on. This is a mill and resurface. This is really a maintenance project, so it really isn't going to take very long. It might seem like forever, but it's about a 90-day project. It's underway right now. It's actually ahead of schedule, so we hope it'll be done in early August.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Sure.
You're on that every day and it's stacked up. It seems like they're barely working on it. They'll be going like crazy for a day or two, and then there's no activity for a week.
I'm so glad you asked that question, because I had somebody call about that and they were really concerned about it. There's actually a good news. There's a good side of that. What happened when they do these mill and resurfaces, they take off about 3 inches of the pavement. And that project, we anticipated that they do that and also find a lot of the pavement underneath it in bad shape. So it's a mill and resurface with pavement repairs is really kind of what we call the project. Well, when they milled that off, we found that the pavement wasn't in that bad a shape. So we had less repairs to do, which means less money. We don't have to, even though we contracted for it with a contractor, we only pay if they do the work. So the city's going to save quite a bit of money and save quite a bit of time. The only problem was they hadn't scheduled the new asphalt to happen for several weeks because they were supposed to do that pavement repair, and they couldn't move it up as quickly as they had hoped for. So they moved it up in the schedule, but not quick enough for everybody to be very frustrated that, you know, why is, because it went for about a week and a half. At first, it rained, and if the pavement's at all wet, we can't put the new asphalt down. But then they couldn't get the asphalt quick enough, so that was the main reason why. Now, hopefully, as we go here, we'll be in better shape. I am a little bit concerned with the amount of work that we may have projects sitting throughout the city at various times as we're all kind of playing tug-of-war to get the asphalt plant to deliver asphalt to our projects. I'm a little concerned about that, but hopefully that won't be a problem.
We're going to ask everybody to hold their questions until we finish. We have 2 more speakers in coming. We'd like to get you out on time.
Oops, I advanced here. Woodville Road, we have another mill and resurface project on Woodville. This is from the Anthony Wayne Bridge to the city limits. This project should be started here shortly, and this is going to be another 90-day project. Then, as you're driving through that area and go over the bridge, you're going to see more orange barrels because we're doing Summit Street and Broadway. Broadway at Western, all the way up to Summit at Lafayette is also going to be done this year. This is going to be another mill and resurface. If you drive that area, as Warren does, he'll tell you that it's in pretty bad shape and in need of some work. City Park, this project is an actual complete reconstruction. So when you go by this project, you'll see that we'll be taking the whole road out all the way down to dirt. The curbs will be out, the entry drives. As I think about small businesses or any of the businesses along our projects, these are the ones that are more disruptive to the businesses. We've got to take out your entrance drive, put stone in temporarily. It really slows down the traffic and slows down a lot of, and can disrupt some things. So these are the ones that if it's happening in front of your business, you may want to let your patrons know, yes, you'll continue to be open for business, but expect a little bit of disruption. But this project will be done this year. We're hoping to get started. I believe that Columbia Gas is already out there, and then the contractor will start the first week of June. Douglas Road. We've got a few projects on Douglas coming up in the next few years. This is from Central to Sylvania, right in the area around 475. It's a mill and resurface project. We're trying to actually get it done before ODOT opens the ramps back up onto 475. We're hopeful we'll get it done ahead of time. That's our goal. We might not be quite done. I think they're getting one of the ramps opened earlier than the other, but that's our goal, is to try to not open up the ramp and then have another project right there. And then Collingwood Boulevard, this project's been in the news quite a bit, as there are going to be a lot of changes to this road. We've got money through TMACOG for improving and reconstructing this road from Monroe Street to Central. A lot of the people in the community, the Old West End Association, approached us and asked about doing some things to help with the speed of traffic through this area and some on-street parking needs and things of that nature. So we've incorporated a lot of those things into the project. We're adding on-street parking in areas where they've requested it. We're adding some boulevard islands in hope of calming traffic. In some areas, we're changing it from 2 lanes in each direction to 1 lane in each direction, because traffic's actually, the numbers have gone down. So we're able to narrow it to 1 lane. We're also replacing the water line, which was one of the very first water lines in the city. It was built sometime in the 1800s. So from a reliability perspective, it's a good thing we're doing that as well. We've got to go through historic review with the State Preservation Office, so there's a few hurdles on the timeline. We're hoping to start this fall. It might be next year before it gets started, but either way, it will go into 2013 for sure. If we don't get started till next year, it'll go into 2014. And then Sylvania Avenue, several people probably know about this area being under construction because it has been for about 2.5 years. We had a sewer project along Sylvania. It's part of our Toledo Waterways initiative, where we're trying to prevent our sanitary sewer water that sometimes overflows into our waterways, prevent that from happening. The EPA has mandated these projects, so we had a large sewer project on Sylvania, and now we're reconstructing the road completely. Again, we're doing some pretty neat things, adding on-street parking, bump outs, doing some safety improvements to shorten the crosswalk areas where pedestrians are at, and really trying to look at it from a complete streets perspective. And we will be done this August, which will make very many people happy. I also just put up a list of a lot of the other remaining large projects so that we wouldn't go through a slide for each one of them. We've got a project on Heather Downs, on Delaware. Some of the smaller projects are also listed here on Sherbrooke and Sherwood. Southwick Boulevard is being completely reconstructed. Westwood over near the University of Toledo, that's another area where we're trying to use some complete streets philosophies and focusing on pedestrian access for all of the people that live in that neighborhood to get to the university, and we're also adding some bike lanes on that street as well as replacing the bridge. And then I also get the pleasure of working on open space planning projects, which are a lot of fun. Instead of just working on streets, I get to work on some of the park projects and some other initiatives. And we've been working with the Port Authority and the Great Lakes Historical Society to do a maritime museum that's going to be down on the water right next to the Marina District property, where the port already has a building. The Boyer Museum ship, which has been rechristened the Schoonmaker, is going to relocate down there. And we're going to have a fantastic $9 million maritime museum. Probably by summer of next year, it'll be a great, great place for anyone to go, and I think it'll be a great attraction for the area. And then we're doing some improvements at Promenade Park, another one that's been in the paper. We're going to be doing the first phase of it, some work this year and into next year, to take the old Federal Building site and make that part of the park. So it really is going to double the size of the park. But we're going to add some unique things to make it a little bit more, if you have a small group of people, you can go down there and just be in a small section of the park, and it'll feel pretty comfortable for smaller events as well as larger events. We hope eventually to add a new stage and a water feature and do some things that'll really make it a draw for the downtown area. And then looking ahead in 2013, I've got a list of the projects that are our major projects. Again, as you saw on the earlier slide, we're spending a little bit more money next year than we are this year, so we're going to be just as busy next year. The big one is Secor from Central to Monroe, but we've also got a project on Bancroft, Bennett out on Suter out in the Point Place area. Shows two projects on East Broadway, but they're going to combine into one project. That's going to be a complete reconstruct, and Upton is another reconstruct as well. So you can see that we've got quite a few projects that are slated for 2013. Another one on Dorr Street, or on Douglas from Dorr to Kenwood as well. And that's just a map of the Secor one. I didn't know if everyone knew where that's at, but the other thing we've been trying to do, we had hoped to actually time this project with 475 being done. We didn't want the interchange or the access points onto the highway to be under construction, but I think with the delays with ODOT on 475, there's probably going to be some overlap. What we are looking to do is see if we can phase this project and do the area around the ramps either at the very beginning or the very end, not have that all held up with the rest of this going on. So we're trying to look at some different phasing options so that we can minimize the disruption to the traffic and to the businesses along there. We'll likely have a meeting, a separate meeting for the Secor Road project itself later this summer, so that the businesses can come out and understand a little bit more of the details of what's happening there. This is a reconstruct, so going all the way down to dirt. We're replacing an old water line in that area as well, so it's going to be a lengthy project, the entire construction season next year, so it'll start as early as they can in 2013 and likely go till November. And then this is not a City of Toledo project, but it's right in the heart of the City of Toledo, the Anthony Wayne Bridge. ODOT is planning a, what do you call this, Warren? A redecking and major...
Yeah, major structural rehab of the bridge.
Yeah. It's slated as a $50 million project, but I think that's the minimum that it's going to be. Once they finalize their inspections and their design, it may be a more costly project than that. This is a huge undertaking, something that is necessary, has to be done. The bad news is the bridge will be closed for 2 years. We do not know when that's going to start. We believe it's sometime in 2013. Once they get the design done, they'll be able to tell us more, and we at the city are already trying to contemplate having some community meetings, bringing ODOT in, making sure that the detour routes are well planned. We're already talking in our divisional level to make sure that we don't have any projects slated for those detour routes. We want to make sure those are going to flow right and make sure everyone's very well informed, but this is going to be a huge issue for the city. And then I just put one of our projects up for 2014. This planning that we do with ODOT and with TMACOG, we usually know on the bigger projects out a couple years what's happening. We have to apply for those funds ahead of time, and there's a lot of design and planning that goes into it. So we've got projects really out to 2017 that are already on the books. So what we're trying to do with these kind of meetings and some of the other district meetings is let people know what's going on, and if there's interest or if there's separate community organizations that want to know more about these projects, we'll be happy to sit down and let you know details of an individual project, and if people have input, we'd love to hear it. We want to get the community engaged in the process. This is on Dorr Street, right near the University of Toledo. The university actually was a partner in organizing this. They engaged a design firm to do a safety study. This area of Dorr Street was the 17th or 19th highest from safety rating in the state of Ohio. So basically there were more crashes in this area. There were only 18 other locations in the state that had more accidents than this area. So we were able to get about $4.5 million of grant money through ODOT for this project. They're picking up the tab for 90% of the project. The city only has to fund 10% of it. And we're in the design stage right now. What'll likely happen is there's some additional turn lanes just from Byrne to Secor, so there's going to be some widening in this section. And then from Secor to Douglas, we're adding some median along there. There will be some breaks at some of the streets, not all of them like there is now. That helps with the safety aspect. It helps with the pedestrians, the college students as they cross the street. They've got that median as kind of a safe haven to get halfway across the street and wait for the rest of the traffic to clear before they move on. So there's likely some beautification and some complete streets initiatives that we're going to try to employ in this as well. So I think that'll be an exciting project. In 2014, we actually have a community meeting already scheduled June 12th to start talking about this to the people that are in that neighborhood. And then we had some slides from a presentation that Warren and I had put together before. This was when the Anthony Wayne Bridge was originally built. They had dancers out there. I don't know if you can see it in the back of the room, but we're pretty sure that OSHA wouldn't allow us to do that this time when we're doing it. But it's amazing when you see these things. And then I put a few other slides up here. This doesn't have anything to do with the roadway projects, but there's a lot of other construction activity in the city right now. We've got storm sewer projects that are happening. So when you see our list of projects, there might be others you say, well, I didn't know about anything on Angola Road. Well, it's just a storm sewer project. This is part of the Toledo Waterways Initiative, which is a $500 million undertaking of the city that the EPA has mandated us to do. There was about $150 million of improvements at the waste treatment plant, and now the rest is out in the system. And really what this is, this project's a perfect example of what it is. They're building this basin. This is the slab, the bottom slab. You've got concrete walls here, and it'll have a concrete lid on it. This is at Schneider Park in the south end. This basin is going to hold 8 million gallons of water. So when it rains, and we've got these overflows of where the rain mixes with our sanitary sewer, glad everybody's done with lunch. Instead of that overflowing into our waterways, we store it in this facility until the plant has capacity, and then it gets pumped to the plant for treatment. So we have lots of hidden projects around the city like this going on that really, the benefit is fantastic for our waterways, but most people just don't know they're going on. Here's another view of that Detroit SSO, and then we've got another basin down near the Maumee River. Our creative names are the Maumee CSO, Combined Sewer Overflow. This is along the Maumee River as well, from Ash Street to Columbus. We buried a 108-inch diameter concrete pipe about a mile long, and again, this is a storage facility. It's a pipeline, so they just store the water in that pipe, and then when the plant can take it, they pump it to the plant and treat it. So just had a couple photos of that I thought you might want to see. And that's it. There's websites if you want more information on anything that ODOT, TMCOG, or the city is working on. So